Katie Wasserman up in the lead there for NAZ Elite, leading this pack.
And it's Abby Nichols coming back from the dead here.
The crowd into it. Here, this is him right here. Oh, get two.
Chrissy Giz left something in the tank.
Adrian Wiltshire.
Olin Hacker.
But Katie Wasserman is going to be the overall winner.
HOKA NAZ Elite is your Festival of Miles champion.
The Flagstaff Magic. Big one for the NAZ Elite, straight out of Flagstaff.
Alrighty, welcome everybody. Today we have Olin with us. Olin grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, very close to University of Wisconsin, and as a bachelor, you've had a lot of success. But even before that, you have a lot amount of success. Whether that was placing second place at the NXN Nationals, and then a week later Foot Locker Nationals, and then NCAA champion at Wisconsin. But now we're here. But tell us a little bit about your running career, your journey, how you found it.
Yeah, kind of how I got into running. I think one of the most important things was my family. So my dad ran at University of Wisconsin before me, and actually ran pro as well. And then, so he kind of I knew about that. Yeah. I knew maybe it was a potential talent that I could have. Ran the mile in grade school. I did okay, but I was pretty small. So
weren't we all?
Yeah, that's I was tiny. So I feel like I don't know, matured slower. So by middle school, I feel like there was a lot of people beating me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have two older brothers, and they both ran in high school.
Okay.
And they had a lot of success.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed going to their cross country meets, especially because, it's just we go out to this big grass field or something.
Yeah.
And while they're getting ready to race, we were just messing around and wrestling in the grass or whatever.
Okay.
And then when they were racing, it was really fun to be able to interact and run around myself and try to watch them at different points. And my dad was always flying around.
Yeah.
So I was always just trying to keep up with him. It took a while before I could actually do that.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of what started my love of the sport, and it really inspired me to start running myself.
Okay.
And then I followed in my father's footsteps. Went to the University of Wisconsin.
Yep.
Which was a mile away from my parents' house.
Oh, that's amazing.
I did move into the dorms though.
Okay, good.
And then kind of continued from there, and here we are.
Yeah. I know your father was a cross-country champion in the 80s, NCAA champion, and obviously you also said your older brother is running around. That kind of gave you, would you say the family kind of all were at this events together and that kind of got you excited into running as well? Or do you think it was just oh, I want to be just as good as these guys as well? Yeah,
it was. I feel like it was really just being around it made me really excited to do it. Because I grew up playing soccer, which I know you did.
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people, a lot of runners ended up doing. But just it just seemed like such a cool community, and I had met some of my brother's friends who were on the team, and they were all just really good people. Yeah. And it just got me excited about the sport.
That's great. Did you say, I can do this for a living? We're here today.
Oh.
When was the time you said, this could go farther than
I expected? It's funny. I feel like there's always levels of it. You start out, and you start out my freshman year of high school. I mean, this is really going way back.
No,
but it's I didn't think I was going to make varsity, right? Yeah. And then in the first race, I made varsity. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know how to do that. And then, I feel then early high school, it's winning a state championship is a big thing. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that was I guess it was something I wanted to do, but I didn't even think that was an option. That was really a goal until maybe a little later on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, this is a goal. And then I did it, and I was like, whoa, no way, that's crazy.
Oh, for sure.
And then I got a scholarship to run at Wisconsin. I was
right.
Whoa, no way, this is crazy. And then, kind of in the later years of running at Wisconsin, I had some issues with injury, and I feel some of my middle years, progression isn't linear, and there was ups and downs.
For sure.
And I kind of thought that maybe then after college my running career would be over, but really in my last year, even my last indoor and outdoor seasons, I started running really good.
Oh, that's
and at that point, then I was like, okay, this is something to start considering, because it always had been a dream. I think, just knowing my dad had done it, and then like kind of through high school when I started having success, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is a goal now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yes, it doesn't always happen.
No, I 100% agree with you, and I've seen that side as well. But I was part of that race, that 5K at NCAAs.
I remember.
And I was watching from behind, maybe about 150 meters to go, and I saw you celebrating, and obviously very excited for you at the time.
Well, you took the lead in that race.
I was
with
leading.
What, with like a K to go, maybe?
No, like 1,200 meters.
1,200
about.
to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, as a guy who did some work of that, it's always inspiring. But now talk about being part of, that NCAA race itself had multiple people that the two of us included that were part of that race in our team at NCAA Elite. So talk about training with, what is training like here? Training at the pro level with guys that when you compete against who are, who were always kind of fighting with you, but now you're training with. Tell us a little bit about that, what that dynamic's like, the team dynamic.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's like every time you move up a level, a lot of that is who you train with, and like now, like you go from high school to college, like there's these guys that are kicking your butt in practice, and like then college to pro, like I think a little bit less so, just in that I feel like the way we train does tend to be individualized, at least for like threshold, because we all have our own thresholds, paces. But yeah, it's I think number one, it's inspiring, like to like Adrian, for example, to see what he's done this indoor season, this past year, has been really cool.
No, absolutely.
But also like we train together a lot. It's like kind of shows you maybe what's possible for yourself.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like, and then like I guess Wesley wasn't in that race, but he was in like the indoor nationals.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'd raced Alex the year before, so
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to meet them. I think Wesley especially, just because he had such an aura about him in college.
Oh yeah.
Where like.
The gloves
his
indoors.
reputation preceded him, certainly, like just his aggressive style of racing.
Absolutely,
and he's just really goofy.
He really is. I mean,
just funny. But he's like still like such a fierce competitor, and so like serious when it comes to that. But then, he just
you see the other side of the person, and you're like, oh wow, okay. Like,
it really humanizes everyone, and at the end of the day, even though they're world class runners, it's they're just my weird teammates.
Exactly. No, absolutely. That's so. I know you mentioned Adrian having a great indoor season, and obviously a great year last year, placing 14th in the 10K. But you yourself were in the record books this past season.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
So let's talk about that. But before we get into that, can you take us through what a race day would look like for you, like a typical race day? Let's say you're racing at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Just take me through what you would do on a typical race day.
Yeah, the 8 p.m. races are tough because you have a long time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, normally I'll try to sleep in as late as I can.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Then I'll eat a
How late are we talking?
I feel like as late as I'm good at sleeping in, so that's maybe like 10 a.m.
Sheesh, okay.
Maybe 11. Well, so it especially depends on like sometimes if you're like changing time zones, that either makes it easier or harder to sleep in.
For sure.
But I feel like often we're going east.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which makes it easier to
indoors
sleep in.
especially, at least.
Yeah. So, yes, sleep in 10, 11, then I'll have a big meal.
Okay.
Then I'll kind of, I don't know, do nothing.
Chill out.
Just kind of like
relax.
Yeah, I'll probably go back to my hotel room, kind of hang out for a bit.
Yeah.
And then at some point I'll do like a 10-15 minute shakeout.
Yeah.
Which is like normally like 5-6 hours ish before warming up. Then I'll eat another meal. And that's like still a pretty normal sized meal.
Yeah.
And then from there it's just like snacking. But yeah, then like as the nervousness mounts, then I'm trying to find other stuff to distract myself with.
Yeah. Do you have to distract yourself?
A little bit.
Okay.
Just because I feel like you don't want to, because I like to think about the race in different waves throughout the day as I get closer. Sure. But I can't be thinking about it the whole time, otherwise I'll just get too excited, too nervous. And I feel like being excited and nervous for an entire day is quite draining. Yeah. But it's like, you kind of do some stuff, you let yourself think about it for a little bit. Yeah. And then you kind of do some stuff. And so I feel like that kind of slowly ramps you up emotionally.
For sure.
for the race.
No, I get you. Now knowing what a typical day is like for you, take us through the race where you ran 13:08, and that was a PR for you.
It was, yeah.
But you didn't know you were very close to the finish line. Not many people know about it also.
Yeah.
So take us through it. What happened?
Yeah, so that one is a little embarrassing.
Be you,
I
right?
haven't, I haven't talked about. Well, yeah. So I guess the race itself. We were in Boston. We were staying in an Airbnb.
Yep. Terry Classic. That's right.
It was fun hanging out with Adrian and Katie.
Yep.
And we I went over to the track. Did all our warm up and stuff.
Right.
And I felt really good in the race. And unfortunately, Adrian and I were separated in different heats.
Oh yeah.
So at that point, then we were kind of split up. I was in the first heat.
Yeah.
And I felt great. Like through 3K.
You look great.
And there was a bunch of the OAC guys in that heat. And one of my old teammates, Morgan McDonald. And even during the race, like this wasn't much, but like at one point, like you're in the line, you don't really want to mess around too much, but like I think there was maybe some gaps kind of starting to form a little bit, and I just didn't want to be caught. So I kind of moved around outside, and I like passed him. Yeah. And like as I passed him, I like stared him down on the stretch. But then I was going into like cut in at the turn, and I like cut in. I really didn't mean to cut him up, but I cut in too early. He like well, it wasn't that close because he like had his heads up, so he like kind of put an arm out, just like, hey, don't cut in, I'm right here. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, then kind of in the later stage of the race, like it started getting hard, obviously, as it does. Yeah.
When did it get hard? Sorry for cutting you off.
When did it get hard? I don't know. Probably with like. I mean, it started getting really hard with probably like a K to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And at that point, then, just because, I guess it was like it's kind of a pace race. Like I kind of mentally checked out a little bit because it's like, okay, just keep running this pace, and like the more. Like checking in, like really focusing on it, I think is good because it allows you to compete. Yeah. But it makes you feel the pain so much more, Yeah. And so I feel like I checked out a little bit, and it's just like I was just like just make it to like 400 to go, then we can kick. Yeah. And made it to 400 to go. Thought I had 800 to go. Okay. So didn't kick, and all these guys around me are starting to like fly by, and I'm like, I can't cover these moves if I have 800 to go. I'm gonna die. But then people were just kicking all around me, and I thought they were just really ramping it up early. But then I like rounded the last corner, and I saw people finishing, and I said, "Oh no."
We saw that. We saw that. And also then at the end you see yourself kind of.
I went to like stop my watch, which is I've literally never once worn a watch while racing. And that's like something I've never wanted to do. Right. I don't like want to be focusing on time at all. But I was like so disoriented. I don't really know. And it's like it's weird because I don't want to like. Number one, it's kind of embarrassing. Rookie mistake, Right. Number two, it's like I don't want to like be going around being like. I lost track of laps. I could have run way faster. Because while like I think that I could have run faster, I think part of the reason I lost track of laps was because it was very hard. Right. Fair. And like I was suffering. But I think with a little more mental engagement, I'll bring that into the next.
Well, actually, you didn't have to do that because you did it at the U.S. Championships.
Yes, you're right.
So let's talk about that. Tell us your experience at the U.S. Championships where you. I just remember you were so relaxed throughout the whole race until when it's race time. In my opinion, I'm gonna say like about at K is when you really fully started engaging. Mm-hmm. So I want you to tell us more of what it was like to race at the U.S. Championships, where you get second place and got yourself a spot at the World Championships.
Yeah, I was really happy with that race. I think my goal going into it after Boston was, not only was it like. Championship race, so it was all about racing. Yeah. But like, just with what ended up having me in Boston, I really wanted to, when it started getting hard, to mentally check in instead of checking out. Fair. And I think I've had, that's been a issue, or like that's been a weakness in my racing sometimes. Yeah. That's happened to me before. Yeah. And then also just like kind of making a race plan with coaches. Yeah. It was to be aggressive, and try to hit the front. Yeah.
Which you did.
Yeah, which I did.
400 meters to go, right?
Yeah. So it was funny. Like right after Boston.
Yeah.
It was like I think while Adrian, or maybe after Adrian was racing, he was like, you know, getting drug tested. Probably I was chatting with Jack.
Yeah.
And he's like at that point, which was 3 weeks before the U.S. Championship, he's like, all right, I think what we're gonna do is 500 to go. I'm gonna hit the lead hard and not give it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like a cool plan.
Yeah.
And we kind of retalked that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like, because I think it's good to have a plan, but you know, you have to be flexible, and you don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
In terms
like
of
having
strategy.
like one strict plan doesn't always work. So we kind of talked about different things, but yeah, it was, you know, get to the front.
Yeah.
Make everybody else think twice.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And yeah, be involved in the race. And yes, and then I think I took the lead maybe like 600 ago, maybe.
Yeah. So it was earlier than usual that I've seen you with.
Yeah.
But then you just don't let up at all. You know, you were. Just,
well, I did. I didn't let up at all, but it's just like then Yared just flew past me.
Yes.
And then Morgan Beadlescombe did as well.
Yeah.
And I think once one person comes by, I think it's easier for that other person
to follow suit,
to come through. And two, I feel like from a racing mentality, if you see someone go by, you want to go by too because you think that person leading is probably dying. Okay. But I was really happy with how I was able to respond. I kind of got into that next gear and had space to get around, even though that can be hard on the indoor track sometimes.
For sure.
And ended up second.
Yeah, and then you go to Glasgow, Scotland for that, which is your second U.S. team just in the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we roomed together.
we were roommates in Riga, yes, Latvia. So tell us a little bit about what that experience was like. Firstly, take us through the process of getting the U.S. gear, all the cool stuff that you probably got for the second time.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit different maybe this time around. And then just the process of the travel and then going to a completely different country for your second time.
Yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. I feel like, getting the gear. I mean, it's the same gear that we got for the World Road Championships. Except we got a parka this time because this one was in the winter. And the parka is super nice.
Okay. I think we may have that in the cross country coming up.
Oh,
so
yeah. Possibly. Have you gotten your
Yes,
stuff
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I haven't fully opened it yet, though.
Okay. So by that, I see that you're maybe not as excited as the first time you got it.
I mean, I'm expecting the same thing. I saw somebody review it.
Yeah.
But no, but this is about you. So let's come back and tell me that whole process. Tell us about the registration first. Like, you know, what it is like to register for the team, right? Because you have to have your passport when you qualify, right?
Yeah. So right after the race, you go to USA's.
Yeah.
You like go to team processing. I guess you go to drug testing first, then to team processing.
Okay.
But yeah, it was weird because at that point, like, I still didn't know if I had made the team because I didn't have the world indoor standard.
Fair.
So I had to qualify with world ranking.
Yeah.
And at that point, I thought that I had a pretty good shot because my world ranking was pretty solid. But then I also thought there was a mistake on my world ranking because the 5K I ran in Boston this winter hadn't registered.
Okay.
But I later learned that the world ranking is for the outdoor 5K, so you have to have 2 outdoor 5Ks in there.
Okay.
And my highest score was from an outdoor 3K.
Yeah.
And that was better than my indoor 5K.
5K, I got you.
So, yeah, to improve my score on an indoor 5K would have had to be better than my 3K.
I got you.
Which is complicated.
It is very
Which I think makes sense when you're doing selection for an outdoor 5K.
Yeah.
But when it's selection for an indoor 3K, I'm like, why does my indoor time not count?
Yeah. No, for sure.
So then when I learned that wasn't going to help my world ranking, I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of went through and tried to figure out who was going to race.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, just because it's an Olympic year, a lot of people ended up, not contesting. And some federations didn't send full teams.
Yep.
And went through all the team processing.
Good.
Got the gear. It was really exciting.
Yeah.
It's
for sure. Always exciting.
It all.
Yeah.
Roscoe got my suitcase.
Okay, I remember him helping you packing and stuff. That's a cultural thing, right?
Travel was smooth. Wasn't as fun as with you and Futsum.
Yeah.
But I had a whole row to myself on the plane from Phoenix to Heathrow Airport.
Oh my god.
Which was huge.
You get sleep
I actually did some sleeping.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was kind of adjusting to the time change.
Yeah.
I roomed with Yared, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had a good time. We spent a lot of time sitting in our beds.
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah.
But we had a good time.
Well, I mean, that is the good time. I think eventually speaks louder when results show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of you and Yared had a great amount of success, but you were the first NAZ Elite athlete to go to World Indoor Championships. I bet that is obviously exciting, but not only did you do that, you were 5th place in the world for the Indoor Championships. Yeah. Tell us a little bit of what has changed just this year in terms of your mindset, where you at. What changed for you to be saying, you know what, I can mix with anybody you throw at me with, and basically rise to the top with everybody that's in it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that changed, I'm getting better at running.
Man, that's
which
good to hear.
Which is good
That's
stuff.
good.
Yeah. I think it's been. I think one thing is like, now like I guess coming into this fall with fall training block, I've been at altitude for a year. Like I feel like it's just building. I'm more comfortable at here. And then I had a really good training block this winter. Working on my strength, working on making my threshold pace faster, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of a mindset shift, I feel like that happened pretty quickly, and it kind of happened at USA's with like the race plan that we developed, and it was kind of scary, but then like it was kind of scary to like really put myself in it. But I think that's somewhat has been lacking from some of my championship racing.
Fair.
Because every time you move up a level, obviously the competitors get a lot better. Yeah. But it shouldn't change the way that you run races, right? Yeah. You should still run races, tactically well.
Yeah. No, I.
So just committing and putting myself in it, and not. I think indoors was a nice trial period because the stakes aren't super high.
Oh yeah.
So can kind of just go for it. If it doesn't work, whatever, go to outdoors.
But
it worked out, and I feel like just bringing that confidence from my race in Indoor USA is I could kind of apply that to Worlds because it ended up being a reasonably similar race.
Yeah, very similar. But you've had a lot bigger dogs, right? And then you the way you moved up in that like latter parts of the race, it seemed like it felt the same exact feeling, at least from watching from the outside. Yeah, it's like, oh, this man is not afraid, and like having a teammate, of yours do that, it obviously also inspires the rest of us as well. So that's why I wanted to actually know the mindset shift in general, or at least in terms of like the sense of belonging at that level, where it's like, you know what, you can be Yared Nuguse, or you could be Brega. I'm running with you. Yeah. Or Josh Kerr, obviously, the one champion too. But now I want to shift a little bit towards your relationships, your family. I know we talked a little bit about your father, Tim, who had a great amount of success himself, and he was at World Championships watching you in Scotland, right? He seems very chill about your running. Like I've had teammates in the past where the parents are so much involved that it felt almost like that journey was solely for the parents rather than the athlete themselves. But the way I've seen y'all relationship, like from the outside, it seems like he is supporting you. He's there to help as much as possible, but he's also watching you from the outside and is proud of you, obviously, to be able to be traveling and helping, being there. Tell us a little bit of what that relationship is like, what your relationship with your father and the running in terms of in that way. Yeah, I think he's done a really good job with it. Like he loves running, and he's been really excited. Yeah. For me and all my siblings, my 2 older brothers and my younger sister, who's still competing at University of Wisconsin. Yes. But he's really good. Number one, because he's lived it, so he knows. Understands. He knows. He understands. He gets Tim it. Knows. And then he like, if you have questions, like he's most likely been through it. Unless it involves super shoes. Yeah. Then he's out of it. Then he's like, I don't even want to know. Fair. But so he has got a lot of good advice. Always has. That's amazing. But I think he's done a really good job of letting running be personal to me and my siblings. Yeah, that's amazing. Let us have our own journey. That's amazing. I think, he has already done it, so he doesn't need to live through us. Fair. Yeah, he's done it all. Well, he's not done it all. Well, but he's lived it. He's experienced. He's lived it. He's
he's had the opportunity to achieve a lot of his goals and run at the professional level.
No, for sure.
So like he can advise, but I feel like he's good at being a fan.
Yeah.
And a parent.
Supporter.
And a supporter.
Yeah. No, I respect that.
Yeah, and it was so fun having him come to Scotland and Worlds. But then he was in Albuquerque for the USA.
Really?
As well.
Okay.
Because my brother lives there. And so he stayed with my brother and his girlfriend. And they all came to the race, and that was fun. Yeah. And I actually stayed with them the night, or 2 nights after the race.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
I stayed an extra night there with them, and that was a ton of fun.
Oh, that's amazing. Speaking of relationships, I'm going to continue on that a little bit. Emma and Roscoe, and I stayed with you guys for 2 weeks.
Roscoe is a dog.
Roscoe is the dog. Yes, I should have probably clarified that, right? I stayed with you guys for 2 weeks, crashing in Adrian's room when he was in South Africa. Yeah. I was still looking for a place, so that was really, I'm grateful for that, by the way. Still.
That's fun. We had to get to know each other because we were about to do an international journey.
Travel together.
So we had to,
we're going to be roommates too.
Yeah. We had to make sure.
Exactly. Also, it was basically our first official week of teammates together.
It was, yeah.
Right? So I lived with you guys. I've seen the life outside of running for you a little bit. A little bit of the project on the van that you guys were working on, the walks with Roscoe and taking turns on, those walks. You have a very balanced life outside of running, at least from my perspective. I don't know if that's how you feel. I hope you do feel that way too. I mean, clearly your success is also speaking loud, right? Tell us a little bit about what that is like, just being able to balance that professional career that you have in running, as well as, relationships with your loved ones and your family and having outside life.
Yeah, I feel like it's very grounding. Because... Yeah, life's not all running.
Yeah.
It can be mostly running.
Right.
And I think it's okay to be mostly running. Like that's what we're focusing on. That's our career right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only so much time in a day that you can run for.
Yeah.
And then you can think about running for more time in a day, but still like you can be doing other things. And,
for sure.
And Emma always got some evil glint in her eye, some project that she wants to do.
Oh, she does, yep.
So yeah, this past summer it was getting a Sprinter van and converting it.
Yeah.
And this is, I guess we were working on that.
I saw that.
When you were living with us.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the other Roscoe was definitely an evil glint in her eye. I knew she wanted to get a dog.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's settle into Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Maybe live here for a little bit, and then we can we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were living here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we kind of had an opportunity to rehome Roscoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was perfect, and we met him, and we were like, well, I guess we're getting it done. I mean, it has been great.
Yeah.
And I guess it's funny with Roscoe too. He doesn't care about my run. He would prefer that I didn't. Well, no, he likes that I run because we run with him.
Right.
But he would prefer that I didn't run competitively because he doesn't want me to leave.
Traveling and all that.
He doesn't want me to travel. And then too, if I do a workout in the morning, I'm not gonna run with him. Well, actually, I probably will.
Sometimes.
But if I'm doing harder runs with the team, I'm not running with him.
Yeah.
So he'd rather have me not do it at all.
Just run with 4 miles in the evening.
And it's I don't know. It's kind of. I mean, even though he's just a dog, it's kind of funny just to have a being in your life who is an important part of my life. Yeah. Just be honestly, I could care less. And it kind of keeps you grounded. It's okay, at the end of the day, this isn't that big of a deal. Yeah. You can always go home and pet your dog. Yeah. It'll be okay.
See, I think that's a perspective a lot of us can take advantage of in a way, of just being able to have life outside of running in a way to balance that and have that healthy relationship outside of just running. But obviously running is taking a lot of our time as well. Yeah. But I'm going to get into the second to last section of this little podcast we have going, which now since we talked about Roscoe, I think it'd be a good transition to say, would you rather question right now? And the question is, would you rather have the ability to speak to all animals and understand all animals, or speak to all humans and understand everybody? Keep in mind, yeah, go ahead.
Wait, what am I keeping in mind?
I will tell you after you answer.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to give an influence.
Yeah, I think both would be. I think part of the decision here is trying to decide how smart I think animals are. Because at some point, like maybe they're a lot smarter than I realize, which I think is true. And I think a lot of animal intelligence, at least for a wild animal, for example, is like it's just they can survive. They're good at surviving. Yeah. But I feel like if it comes to like Roscoe, like I think I generally know what he wants without having to talk to him. Yeah. And in fact, if he could talk to me, he might get a little annoying.
Yeah, he's like, take me outside.
Plus I kind of like making up a little monologue for him.
Yeah.
So I think being able to speak to all humans, that would be an incredible power.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I was going to say...
what I will say, though, is like, it is literally possible for me to do. So it's a little maybe hypocritical for me to wish for that, because I could literally just learn the language.
Well, okay, how about this, though? Like,
so maybe I should just learn some languages.
But you can't learn all of them, right?
It's true.
However, they do say that 43% of the world's population, I think that was the number I read somewhere, speak or at least can communicate with you in English, which is your first language, right?
Which I feel so I feel so lucky to have that, but I feel like it makes me feel like lightly guilty sometimes. Like I should. But then, like, not guilty enough to actually do anything about it. So I don't really have. I don't know. I don't have much ground to stay on.
No, I get you. If you could visit one country in this world, where would it be and why?
Well, I'd really like to go to France this summer.
France. I mean, let's do it.
Specifically Paris,
right? All right, let's keep it at that. Let's keep your answer there, and end of June, give it a shot.
Yep.
All of it. I'm very excited.
Try to get a free trip.
We will get ready together for that, and I'm really excited about that. Now, what's your favorite thing about professional running? Except from going to Paris, places like Paris.
I think two things.
Yeah.
One is, well, this is broad, but like being a part of a team. Yeah. And then also just like the greater running community at large. I think it's really cool to be part of that running community. Yeah. And then, there's obviously different sections. Like there's the whole running community. Yeah. Anyone that runs ever. Absolutely. But then there's also like, a lot of different ones. But like bringing it down to like the pro running community, like I feel like a lot of people have similar experiences. A lot of people are very nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Will help each other out. Will share their experiences.
Very humble.
And be humble. Yeah. And I just like feel like you have something pretty specific in common with those other people. I think it's fun to meet them. Yeah. And then I also really appreciate the kind of the freedom it gives me in my life. I guess. Well, it's a specific kind of freedom.
I get you.
Like it's some freedom in day-to-day life, but then I guess there's a lot of sacrifices that happen just to run at an elite level. Mm-hmm. But it's sacrifices that I feel like it's probably how I'd be living my life more or less anyways.
So it ain't really a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's not really a sacrifice. It's just kind of a lifestyle choice, I guess.
No, absolutely.
But having the freedom to I my job is on a Tuesday, on a hard day. Yeah. I wake up, I go do my workout with you guys. Yep. We do some threshold work. Yeah. Then go home. One of the jobs is to eat. Yeah. Not so bad. Yeah. Rest and then go out and do it again. For a specific workout.
Well, speaking of, I think this is something I actually would love to know more. What's your favorite workout? Like I know you kind of mentioned a little bit of that Tuesday double threshold or whatever. What's your favorite workout before we end this discussion here?
So, the Tuesday double thresholds are fun, but in the way that it's really sharing something with other people. Okay. I would never want... Adrian had to do one alone this spring. Man. I felt so bad.
It's hard.
Oh, you've done one?
No. Well, I've done one at home.
Okay,
It's not,
But it's but also that's not that fun, really. Yeah. But it's the last... I feel like the afternoon part of the double threshold, the last couple of reps, once you've warmed up again, you're starting to feel good.
A lot easier.
Those are fun. Yeah. Because then it's also not super hard because of threshold. Yeah. But it's but then I think one of a really important workout that we did in this build was kind kind of coming into championship season.
Yeah.
And I was doing some workouts where I was doing like either a K or a mile or an 800, and like alternating paces every
okay.
200.
Okay.
And then we'd kind of end those workouts with some like 400s, like trying to build through, get faster.
Get
every
faster
100.
each 100.
And those were difficult.
Yeah.
And kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not about the workout. It's about the company, really.
Man, you got really deep here. No, I 100% agree. That's the thing, though. It's like
My favorite workout was whichever one had
you
the
have
most
the most
people in
people
it.
or like the coolest people, I guess you could say. But yeah, no, I mean our whole team's cool. Now, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great amount of discussion, and I hope that our family and friends and fans that are watching this can benefit something from it and get to know you a little bit. The way even though we've been teammates for a few months now, learn some more about you. One last thing is you get the chance to ask one question to our next guest, which will be a team member. You do not know who.
Yeah.
So this question can be very deep, or it could be very light, depending on your own
Okay.
choice.
Well, so you did prepare me for this one pre-podcast, but then we did a bunch of talking, and
You probably spaced out.
So I think my question is for the future teammates. What are you doing tonight? Gonna hang out?
All right, we'll write that down and make sure to ask the next guest. And then hopefully they pass it down and they ask a bit deeper. Okay. But seriously, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to training with you and having more success together and watching you do your own thing.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Alrighty.